Bros, presented by GhostBed.com. Yeah, welcome to Drinkin Bros Sports, kids. We've got a legend on the show today, D'Anthony.
Indeed.
Indeed we do.
Somebody that a lot of people may have lost track of until this Last Dance documentary came out.
Yeah, the Last Dance documentary. We got Bill Cartwright in the house today. Bill, how are you? You look great.
I'm doing great. Hanging in San Francisco, and there's no fog today. Clear, beautiful, perfect.
Man, I used to love San Francisco. It used to be one of the most beautiful cities of all time. How is it there now? Because you hear hit and miss where it's like, people are leaving and they're pissing in the streets or whatever. Is that overblown by the media?
I'm here pretty much every day, so I'm pretty happy. I think that people, as you know, people get really confused about most things, and this is one of those things. It's a great time, and also during the summer, that's when they have a lot of events, especially in the park. Mm-hmm. I'm right next to USF, so very, very cool time to be down here.
Awesome. Yeah, I got chased out of Los Angeles by the homelessness. It got to be a little too much for me, so I had to bounce. I was there for a long time, but I used to love going up to San Francisco. I'd go up and catch Braves games at that ballpark, not Candlestick, the new one, where you can hit it into
AT&T?
the water. AT&T, yeah. Beautiful.
I worked there. I worked in San Francisco at the Department of Homeland Security for a while.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, for a while, yeah.
Look at that. Here we all are, Bill. And then, look, you had a long, illustrious career, and then all of a sudden, COVID hits. Nobody has anything to do and or watch. And then the Last Dance documentary comes on and explodes. And it feels like no one ever left from that era because you guys were so famous. And then, boom, everybody's back again. What were your thoughts on it when you watched it?
Well, I thought it was a guy's perspective on what happened. Very interesting. Some of my teammates were not too pleased. I found it to be very entertaining because I obviously didn't realize all those things were going on. And this is what I found out to be most amazing is that, look, we won like 3 straight championships. And then came back again and won 3 more.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you be kind of happy? Shouldn't you be kind of feeling pretty good? That's what I found to be like humorous because we were, even though we were working hard and, I got there in '88. Doug Collins was a coach. Phil Jackson took over a year later. 1 year after that, we were able to overcome the dreaded Pistons and win a championship. Now, let me ask you something. Should you be happy? So I was pretty pleased most of the time. I was there. So I just found a lot of humor and into the perspective that it was kind of played out of all this drama, but. Yeah, the fans seem to like it, so it was entertaining either way.
Yeah, and as a fan, I can tell you this. I personally loved it, and I was watching a movie called Almost Famous on the other night, which is one of my all-time favorites. Whenever it comes on, I'll stop and watch it. But there was an interesting line in there that reminded me of The Last Dance when finally the Rolling Stones story comes out at the end about the band, and he was like, "Wow, we all look like assholes and amateurs and everything else." And the one guy stands up and he goes, "Shit, maybe that's who we really are." Do you think that it's the same thing with a lot of the players with Scottie Pippen and those guys where they just didn't want to believe that was who they really were during that time period?
No, because that's not who we were. We were very fortunate. We had a great owner with Jerry Reisdorf who pretty much left everybody alone and let Jerry Krause be the GM. And those two had a special vision. They had a great staff with Clarence Gaines and Jimmy Stack that brought great players in every year. And think of this, Jerry drafted everybody except MJ, who we kind of ended up with because Portland took Sam Bowie and everybody's like, oh, what a great trade. That's all that was left. So we ended up with Michael. And we ended up, Jerry recruited everybody else, drafted them. We ended up with a really, really special group. We ended up with a very special coaching staff with Phil Jackson, Johnny Bach, Tex Winter, Jim Clemens. We had the best strength and conditioning coach on the planet that doesn't even get a mention in there with Al Vermeil. The only strength and conditioning coaches, Major League Baseball, football, and basketball. So it was a really special time, and it's a really special group of guys that come together. And not to be able to tell that story is really confusing, but it's just something that just may not happen again, especially now when guys leave after winning a championship. They get $1 more and they move along to another team. So I don't know. I just viewed it as a really special time. Very lucky for me to get out of New York and get traded over there because of Jerry and or the two Jerrys. So to me, it was special. I love my time in Chicago. I love being there. I was fortunate to play with the guys that I played with. When I was there, I played with two of the best shooting guards, maybe in the history of the world, with Trent Tucker and Craig Hodges. I was just really very fortunate. So that's how I viewed it. So you can view it any way you want it, but I had a pretty darn good time.
Yeah. What about, let me ask you this. What was more stressful for you, the three-peat that you played or the three-peat that you coached?
I think I was comfortable with either one. The hardest one was the first one with the Lakers. And it's funny when people talk about it now, they're like, oh, yeah, we knew you guys had it in. It's like at the time, especially we lost the first game in Chicago. We won the second one. We're going to L.A. for 3 games. And people were talking sweep, but they were talking sweep for the Lakers. And we ended up sweeping them back in L.A.
Right.
with a brilliant suggestion by Phil to double D Magic Johnson in the backcourt. And that just threw them out of whack, and we were able to beat them. And remember, that third game was an overtime game. Yep. So after we were able to get a hold of them, we whipped them. So to win our first championship and then to go on and beat Portland, it was a really good team in Phoenix. Those 3 championships, that was real special. But we were really ready for those. And let's make the business for that, for beating a ton of us for 2 years. After that happened, nothing stopped us.
Right. Michael talked about that in The Last Dance, about even when he came back from baseball, he had to put on weight, right? He had to just to get in the early years from 91 to 92, in between that time period, after being beat up from the Pistons for so long. I guess it actually started in 90. He started putting on weight back then too, just to be able to take all that smoke.
Yeah.
What was it? The Jordan rule. If he's up in the air, knock his ass out, right?
Yeah.
That's basically how it goes.
Yeah.
Push him left, push him to the middle of the court, then fucking knock his ass out if he gets in the lane. That's a lot going on there, right?
Yeah, and we had Tim Grover on the show a few weeks ago, and he talked about preparing Michael's body for that as well. Him and Kobe Bryant, after years of driving the lane and all that other stuff and getting attacked. It was a fascinating time. It was interesting to hear you say, though, that you were a fan of the Jerrys, because it seemed like no one else really liked them at all, especially fans in Chicago. And then you're right. The way the documentary painted them was kind of in this villain-esque role. And, I remember watching it as a kid. You look at Jerry Krause in particular, and he fits the bill of like the Penguin from, a Batman series or something like that. It is easy to paint him as a villain. Why didn't they have everybody back for one more run? And do you think you would have won it for a 7th on that if they did bring everyone back?
Well, I'm not sure we could have gotten everybody back, for one thing. I mean, MJ talks about it, but look, everybody else is moving on. I know Horace went off to sign a pretty big contract in Orlando. Bibb went on, signed a pretty big contract, and, they're trying to convince you that, oh, yeah, they're going to stay one more year and not have that happen. So and Phil wasn't coming back. So, I think it's more about, look, if we're talking about Last Dance, we could have won 4 or 5 straight championships and, Michael decided to stay, especially for the 4th one, which would have been our easiest championship. And look, things just happen where it doesn't work out. And he didn't stay for the 4th. And we didn't. We were done after winning our 3rd, our 6th championship. So I would just view it as, let's appreciate what we did. We were the team of the 90s.
Yep.
We did some really special things. We did something that was probably not going to happen again. So I just love that time. We were young, feeling pretty darn good about ourselves. So that's how I view it. That we don't own the team, and neither did Jerry Krause, which I thought was interesting. Let's blame Jerry Krause for not breaking down. That's not Jerry Krause. He's the GM. So the time was done and had to end, and it's over. But let's appreciate and love what we accomplished when we were there. There's nothing negative that happened when we were in Chicago.
Yeah, and I agree. Look, it's hard to bitch about winning 6 championships. I mean, that's the only time I think we blamed somebody or the fans blamed somebody where you're just like, we could have had 8. Yeah. It was like you had 6 out of 10 years in the 90s. Like, I don't know how you get better than that.
I know that. I mean, that's 100%, but it also is like if you eat an entire apple and it's the best apple you've ever had and the last bite has a worm in it, that still kind of sucks, doesn't it? I mean, I get it. And but Bill's point is right. I mean, if Michael had stayed previously, like he's upset that everybody left after that, or that Krause orchestrated the departure of everyone after that. Because Phil wasn't going to come back, but he wasn't going to come back because of what Jerry had said earlier in the offseason, right? Let's be real about that. So I could see both sides of that. Michael should have stayed in the first place, right?
Yeah.
But again, I mean, maybe Rodman is the person that we should be paying attention to in all this. This guy who knows who he is, knows that if he goes and misses practice and goes to Vegas, he's going to come back and get 19 rebounds in a playoff game. You know what I mean? I mean, ultimately, it's not about being the best possible example of a human being you could be. It's about winning fucking basketball games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bill, look, you're having both been a player and a coach. Would you have ever let Dennis Rodman just leave and go to Vegas? Like, it seems so crazy now in today's world.
Well, it was crazy, but we're probably the only team, maybe the only sports team ever that could allow something like that to happen, and then have him come back fine. So, Dennis was a really special type of personality. I don't think there's any GM or coach that would allow it, let alone the owner. So everybody had to be on that page. But the dude was special. It's funny. No, he wasn't a great practice guy. He was a good guy. I really enjoyed spending time with him because he did care a lot about his team and his performance on the court. So, I don't know. That's a crazy ass mindset there to be able to take off and then come right back and get yourself 15 to 20 boards. So I can't call that.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Like I remember when he had that prolonged absence to Vegas, and then Jordan came back and they were doing the next man up drill, which is where you run and the guy in the back has to sprint to the front and so on and so forth. And Rodman was like, "Oh, you think I'm out of shape? Let's do this." And he just fucked everybody over for the whole practice. That's hilarious to me. But he is certainly a special individual, but so is Michael. I think somebody that is that mentally focused on winning that much and is that emotionally invested in, they need a break somehow, and they don't know how to take a break. I think it's a big problem for some people. You see burnout in athletes, you see burnout in academics, you see burnout in business for that exact reason. And you see it in the military as well with our guys. Like, people just don't know when to stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I get it. I mean, maybe he needed that mental break, but then did he really get a mental break? He was trying to learn a new sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How much of a mental break can that possibly be?
Yeah, exactly. Who are the toughest guys you went up against when you were playing?
Well, let's not forget, I came in a league where there was a lot of established guys. Like my first game was against Daryl Dawkins, which was no pleasure. Then you'd roll down and get bombed in the air. Then maybe you'd get Dave Cowens, and then maybe you get Artis Gilmore. And then maybe you swing over and get Dan Issel. And then, of course, Kareem was always waiting for you. So there was a bunch of established guys. And it was, when you're young, it's cool because it's, like I said, my first game's against Daryl Dawkins. So you're rolling around there, and who's on the floor? It's Dr. J. And it's just, it's just really cool because there's just a lot of guys who you're just kind of looking around and go, wow, my teammate was Earl Monroe.
Oh, wow.
And, the guy who was supposed to be the starting center was Marvin Webster. And my first coach was Red Holzman. So I had legendary guys when I got in the league, and it was a really special time being in New York, going through those phases. And as you know, it was not like a passive game. You drive to the basket, somebody can put you down pretty easy, and you're just gonna have to just get up and shoot some free throws. Not like it is now. Unfortunately, there's no flagrant foul back then, so. Yeah, it was just survival of the fittest.
Yeah, because when you were drafted in '79, you were hitting that golden age for the NBA where, you just had all the superstars.
Yeah, it was right after the merger, right?
Yeah.
So, man, that was a wild time.
Yeah.
You just missed playing with Phil, actually, by like a year, right? Didn't he leave to go to the
No,
Nets?
I actually played. Phil was at the end of that. I played against Phil. Phil was.
No, like on the same team. He was on the Knicks like a year before you got drafted. I think then he went to the Nets that year.
He was into that. Yeah, but he was still playing. And it's funny because Doug Collins was in Philly.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And he was down there, so it was pretty cool.
I guess whatever you could say about Jerry Krause, he sure did manage to get a whole lot of talent to come into the same area and find a way to work together. You can't judge him based on it. You can say maybe he stopped too early, but you cannot. There's nothing you could say about his effort because the success is there. Nobody's ever done that before except for Boston in the 60s. Yeah. But that doesn't count, right?
I'm not sure. It's hard. What's your thoughts on that 60s Boston team? Because everybody will say 10 championships and all that other stuff. You were probably watching it as a kid and as a fan at that point. Looking back on it, was the competition level just not the same?
You guys got to be kidding. Competition's off the charts. There's fewer teams in the league. Mm-hmm. We had creme de la creme guys that were playing, and look, it's not like it was even when I was playing. There was no. You had one trainer. You're basically on your own. You got to take care of yourself. You got to get yourself in shape. It is real survival of the fittest. You really had to just do everything yourself. So those teams were great teams, and those teams were really fast. And it's just great to watch them play because those suckers move the ball. They were great teams, and it's kind of it's pretty amazing. It's like, what kind of player would Bob Cousy be like? Bob Cousy be an all-star.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding me? That guy's a jet. So I have a real appreciation for those guys because of what they went through and how hard they worked. In that kind of situation where you saw guys who they weren't great. Some were jump shooters, but man, those guys can pass. Those guys can cut. Those guys can shoot runners. That guys are now shooting now. They had real basketball skill. Guys now are really athletic. They can run, jump. They can cast up threes like nobody's business. But just playing basketball and using your teammates and ball movement to dictate shots, no, those guys those guys are well past us. So, yeah, Celtics, man, those guys are great. And they had my guy, Bill Russell, who's the greatest player of all time, along with my guy Kareem. So, if you're in a team with Bill Russell, only thing you're going to do is win. So that I'm going with him. Where's he going? That's where I'm going.
Yeah, and then look, it seems like they don't get enough respect because today all you hear is LeBron's the GOAT or Kobe or Jordan. Since you were again alive during that time, you were a fan and a kid and all that stuff. Is Bill Russell then the greatest of all time?
Well, I view Kareem as the greatest of all time, simply because the guy's won at every single level. The guy's an unstoppable player. I was fortunate to play against him. He's just, and also to be the guy who's the greatest of all time is bigger than that sport. And as far as social justice, as far as being an icon in our society, somebody that really cares about others, that's those two guys. To me, those guys are twin towers that way. Kareem and Bill Russell, because those guys were focusing on social justice where, they could be out of a job. They didn't care. They were doing what was best for everybody. So to me, that's what a hero is all about. Not only you're a great basketball player, you're bigger than that. You're bigger than the game. You have an understanding of people. You care. You're going to put yourself on the line. Not that guys don't do that now, but they don't have to now. They can use social media. Those guys were putting themselves out there.
Yeah.
So I have a huge appreciation for those guys.
Got it. And in the year that you were drafted, Magic Johnson went number 1 in that. He was my favorite player as a kid. How great was he in real life?
Magic's amazing player. And look, when my draft, Red Auerbach brilliantly, what does he do? He signs a guy the year ahead when he got drafted and set weight on him, Larry Bird. So coming out that same year, and those two guys basically changed basketball. And really basketball kind of had an edge on it then because people were still fighting. And then there was, the rumors of these drug things that were going on that really didn't happen. They kind of happened a little bit, but for our league, not a lot. But the image those guys brought to the league was outstanding. That they just really changed basketball and took it to another level and really redeveloped a rivalry in sports with Bird and Magic. Both great guys, both totally different guys, great teammates. When I was in college, I had an opportunity to spend some time with Birdman and later on to visit with Magic a little bit. So just great people. Great ambassadors for the sport.
Yeah, and I mean, this was a crazy draft for you. I'm just looking at the names here. I mean, because a lot of these guys lasted forever. Magic went number 1. Bill Cartwright, obviously, at 3 here. Cindy Moncrief, who was a legend. People don't give him enough credit for what he did in Milwaukee. He was great. Vinny the Microwave Johnson went at 7. Cliff Robinson. Man, Cliff Robinson was great. Jim Paxson. There's a ton of people in this draft. What was it like on draft night? It certainly wasn't as big as it was now, where you wear a suit, they spend all day with you, do a documentary on you for a couple weeks beforehand, and then you get a gajillion dollars. What was the signing for you for the 3rd pick in the draft in 1979?
Well, I went to New York. I was in San Francisco, flew to New York with my agent at the time, Bob Wolf. And it just wasn't a lot of hype. It was, they call your name, you step up there, you put a hat on, you wait for a minute, reporters interview you, and then you go home. So it wasn't, you didn't have a lot of time to think about it. It wasn't the media show that it is now. There weren't a lot of commentators around, but it was great. It was cool. I enjoyed it.
Do you remember the details of your first contract? How much was it for?
My first contract was right around $100,000.
Wow.
Yeah, which I was very pleased with. That was back in 79, 80. So, the guy with the huge contract on our team was Barbara Webster, and it was a ridiculous contract, and it topped out at about 600. So that was really off the charts. So if we could ever aspire to get to that, we would have been like kings. But that was the 80s.
Yeah.
So that was big money back then. So
for sure.
Yeah, we were spoiled.
Well, I mean, things are a lot different now. There's a traveling. It's a traveling circus now, right? I wonder how many. I would love to hear in 2021 the amount of people that just travel with the team when they go on the road.
And the expenses of it. Because we always hear about the LeBron entourage behind the scenes, and there's 13 guys that fly with him.
I'm talking about the official people just with the team. All the training staff, all the other crew and stuff that move around with these guys. It's like moving probably 80 people around at a time.
Yeah.
Right? It's ridiculous for 15 guys on a basketball team.
It's crazy.
It's a different beast now. Look, there's practice facilities now that are beautiful. They have not only the courts, they have weight room there, pool, jacuzzi, sauna, they have massage rooms. The place in Chicago, there's a barber shop in there. They have 2 or 3 masseuses on duties ready to go. And plus they have a chef in there. Now, when I got into New York, we practice our training camp was in Monmouth, New Jersey. But after that, our practice facility was a LaGuardia Community College, right over the 59th Street Bridge. So you go in that place, and whatever temperature was outside us, the temperature was on the floor. So a lot of times we practice with sweats on. And that's what you got way back when. So you just did what you did, and just kind of rock and roll from there.
Yeah, different time now. Boy, players get everything now. I mean, just absolutely everything. It's crazy. Yeah. Private jets and all that stuff. I'm assuming you guys were probably commercial, right?
Definitely commercial. You're on the first plane now, so everybody in the league was exhausted. But at least everybody had the same thing. And nobody was chartering then. We didn't start chartering until probably closer to the 90s.
Oh, gotcha. Wow. That's a long time. Dan and I travel every couple of weeks here for the show to do a live event somewhere. I'm exhausted from one flight every 2 weeks, let alone getting on a commercial flight every single day.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No, I'm all set.
Yeah, well, the road trips were long. Road trips were like 2 weeks. So when you're on the road, you're on the road.
Yeah.
So back then, but now there's charters, so you can go back and forth. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Who was the best you ever saw in real life? Just because simply your career stretched so long, you really got to see almost everybody. Who was the best you've ever seen in your entire life in person?
The best I've ever seen. Well, I was fortunate enough to. Well, let's go with 2 guys on my team. Of course, MJ. Mm-hmm. And you got to go with them because that's 6 championships. And my teammate in New York, besides Patrick, was Bernard King. Now, Bernard King, when he got on a run, you can't stop him, period. He's just really unorthodox. He's a problem. So when he's on, he's a beast. So those two guys were the best that I saw. Could not be stopped.
Bernard King doesn't get enough credit, man. I was a kid, and that guy, it felt like he was dropping 50 every night. And then he just kind of disappeared. He didn't have a big personality or anything like that. What was he like in real life?
Bernard's a great guy, great person, extraordinarily hard worker. He was like the first guy that I knew that would get like daily or weekly massages to focus on his body. But he was just all about just playing, and he brought a great energy to practices, to the game, because it was all out. So I really enjoyed playing with him.
Yeah, just looking back at him, you're right, that unorthodox shot. I'm thinking about him now. Was it a knee injury that got him out of the league? What was it?
Yeah, blew his knee out. Remember, he had back-to-back 50-point games.
Oh, yeah.
And, that year just landed wrong. And I think it was at that time he had an ACL. At that time, it was bad news. So put him out. He was able to come back, but not the same way.
Yeah. And then earlier you were mentioning you were playing with Craig Hodges. I forgot how great Craig Hodges was, man. Deadly three-point shooter. Used to win all the three-point competitions. During that team and that whole era, who was your favorite guy that you broed out with? Who was your bestie on that team?
Well, Greg was one of those guys, and we're just like high school kids. It's kind of like, it's the older guys have got a group, the younger guys have got a group. That's kind of their clique. That's who you're going to hang around with. And for me, it's hard to have a clique because I had kids back then too. So I'm not going out; I'm going home. So Greg was definitely one of the guys in that group. Great guy, great player. Another guy was Trent Tucker. Trent, both those guys would be formidable if they played right now because their range was unlimited. And they got to be sad watching the games. Like, man, this is my time right now. We're just cranking threes, and I'd be all over this.
Yeah,
it would be nice to see a simulation of Pete Maravich and Jerry West in an NBA that has a three-point line.
I know,
right? That would, Jesus Christ, what would that even look like?
It'd be crazy because, look, Bill, during your era, it was a league dominated by centers. It hasn't been in the last few years, or the last, 10, 15 years, I guess. You had Shaq. Once Shaq got out of there, it was like, all right, great. We're kind of transitioning into guards. And then finally Giannis brought the center position back this year. But when you were playing, it was a center league. Do you look at this league today and think that you could absolutely dominate?
Well, I think that the league's always changed and it's always evolved. I think that's just a part of it. I think eventually they'll come to their senses, start throwing the ball back to the post and back to the elbow, and start attacking the basket and penetrating more. And right now the league is dominated. And look at it. You look at these teams now. Every guard, every team head coach is a guard.
Yep. So
and they're all running the same stuff. Yeah. But to guys like me, it's kind of nightmarish that there's, the game is not very diverse in how they're playing. They're just 3-point shots, transition, screen roll, and isolation basketball. So I try to watch it, try to enjoy it for what it is. I try to enjoy it. I don't really, but I try to and appreciate it. The league's always evolved. There's going to be somebody who says, "Hey, throw the ball in the post," and we're going to say, "Hey, that's brilliant."
Yeah.
So it'll happen eventually. It's got to get back to where it's a little more balanced and where it makes sense because. Look, you can't touch anybody now anyway. So if a guy like Shaq played now, he may average 50. So it would be they'll figure it out. I'm sure they're smart guys.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say though that you don't enjoy today's game at all, because it really has changed so much, and you expect your 7-footers now to shoot 3-pointers. Did you ever attempt one? I don't know if you ever did. I can't remember you shooting a 3.
3 of them.
3.
Attempted 3. Over 3. So look, and it doesn't make sense. It's just like the baseball guys are the same guy. Everybody's not a home run hitter, and they're swinging for the fences, and everybody's supposed to be a 3-point shooter, which doesn't make any sense. So if it doesn't make any sense, stop trying to explain it. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
So like I said, these guys are smart guys. They'll figure it out.
Who do you like to watch? What players do you like to watch today?
I just like to, I think that, we're of course attracted to the bigger guys, but just want to see good basketball. Just want to see green action, want to see ball movement, and I want to see all this dribbling up the floor. I don't want to see any kickstand threes. I want to see great plays. And you know what you say. Basketball is like every other sport. You watch it, you're looking to see something special where you can say, wow, that was a great play. Or, wow, I've never seen that before. So that's what we're looking at. And this is when we're watching basketball or any sport. We want to see something that's going to wow us a little bit and just something that's going to say, that's a really good play.
Yeah. Yeah. Last question for you here. We appreciate you being on the show today. I wanted to ask you about that the Scottie Pippen moment where they threw it into Kukoc to shoot the last shot versus Scottie Pippen. Did you agree with that when you were on the team? And did you agree with his response to it?
Nobody agreed with his response to it. And look, Scottie, I love Scottie. It was a blunder. It was a mistake. Something that should be viewed that way because Pitt that year was our leader. He played great. Tony Kukoc had emerged, and also B.J. Armstrong. Those 3 guys really stepped up and made a real difference. So when that happened, we wanted to acknowledge it. I spoke after the game to say, hey, look, we're not going to lose like that. We're going to lose, with our best shot and just go at it that way. So, unfortunately, we haven't been able to get 20 plus years later. We haven't been able to get past that. And we should, because that was still a great year. We still won 55 plus games. We were one Hollins call away from moving on. So we still had an opportunity after that. So it was a bit of a test, and we almost made it.
Yeah. Well, look,
I'll say this. You guys came closer to winning another title without Michael than the Patriots did without Tom Brady. Right? I mean, it was clear that was a very well put together organization.
Yes.
In its entirety, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you were a joy to watch play. Everybody loved you and your personality. Thank you for being on the show today. We greatly appreciate it, Bill. And enjoy San Francisco. It looks beautiful there.
Well, thank you, guys. And remember, I do have my own podcast, The Bill Cartwright Show. It's on YouTube. If you want to check it out, we got some great guests. We got some NBA guys, some USF guys. I had a really, really cool guest on the other day with Chanel Sutherland. She's a jockey. And I was like, I got to get you on, man. You are so cool. So I just really enjoy this time, especially I was stuck in COVID. And I'm like, what do you do? Let's get a podcast. So it's been a lot of fun. And guys, thank you so much for having me on. You guys are great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The Bill Cartwright Show. Check it out on YouTube.
Yes.
And then maybe Bill will be a jockey himself. I'd like to see 7'1" Bill Cartwright just hop on a horse and get into the Kentucky Derby. I think that'd be a blast.
Yeah. You know what we really like to see is like a USF Dots mug up there to celebrate our Dons and what we're trying to attempt to do and restore ourselves back to national prominence. So we got to get that done. I got to send you something. Got to get some Don stuff up there.
Wow, please do. We will take it, sir. We appreciate it. Take care, Bill. We got some sponsors who pay for the show to be on the air. First and foremost is our title sponsor, KillCliff.com. Promo code Drinkin' Bros gets you 30% off. Look, I always talk about the CBD products there. It was KillCliffCBD.com. They have combined into KillCliff.com. You can get all of your favorites there now with the promo code Drinkin' Bros for 30% off. So take advantage of everything in the store. However, I always go to the CBD. I just had some delivered to my house last night. And it came in a box, and I was like, hey, is this light? I even stopped the FedEx guy. I was like, did you short me?
Yeah.
Did you short me on this? Because I feel like I ordered all of the things, and then I run out. I don't know. I always run out of the fucking Kill Cliff. 25 milligrams of CBD in every single can. No THC. Will you not piss hot on a drug test for that? Go to KillCliff.com today and try yours. The Flaming Joe has now taken over as my favorite. I like to mix it with vodka, Dan.
Yeah, same.
It's that fucking jalapeno kick in it, dude.
Yeah, it tastes good.
God, Joe Rogan's just doing it, dude. Congratulations to him and Kill Cliff.
It's just jalapenos, elk, and CBD for the guy.
Yes.
Well, DMT.
You follow his Instagram? Every night there's elk meat, jalapenos in it.
Yeah.
In his dish.
It tastes good. I don't blame him. So
no, I don't either. Next up, we got Draftkings. Download the Draftkings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code BROS to receive $200 in free bets when you place $1 on any Week 1 game. And this is for the NFL that is coming up a week from Thursday. It's a Thursday night game, right?
Yeah.
Delco? Yeah. Thursday night game. We'll be doing a live watch for it. I get a lot of money on that. Hightower Sean, are you in town or are you going to your child's christening? Nothing during the Cowboys game. Bucks Cowboys.
I'll be here.
Okay. Good, because I want you in the studio when you lose. I want to see a Cowboys fan on camera watching them get stomped on national television as Brady holds up his, is it 7 rings for him? 7, yeah.
Who knows?
7
He's run out of fingers.
It's great. Look, the NFL is back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, their official partner now with the NFL, D'Anthony. Mm-hmm. I think they're an official partner with ESPN now. They're everywhere. They're giving all new players a can't-miss offer Week 1. Just bet $1 on any NFL game during the first week and receive $200 in free bets instantly, no matter what. Take advantage of this limited-time offer now. You heard that right. DraftKings is giving all new players $200 in free bets instantly when you place a bet of $1 or more on any Week 1 game. Head to DraftKings Sportsbook app now to check out the great promotions and daily odds boosts. Plus, you can make every game a big game with parlays. You know I'm a parlay guy. I've always got the fucking parlays. Right after this, we're doing college football preview. Parlays. I love them. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Why am I having sports back, dude? What the fuck's wrong with me today? I'm biting out, dude.
Sports back. Baby
Sportsbook app. Sportsbook app.
Makes me want ribs.
It's baby back. Sportsbook app. No, exactly.
Nope.
No, don't say anymore.
They're not paying us.
They're not paying. Chili's is not paying us.
Are they still a business?
Call them Willie's, okay? Download the app now and use the promo code BROS to receive $200 in free bets when you place a $1 bet on any Week 1 game. That's promo code BROS to get your free $200 in free bets instantly for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. And it's new customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, 1-800-9. With it, last but not least, we got ghostbed.com/Drinkin' Bros. Labor Day sale is here. It's your time. 40% off the bundle packages. Get that adjustable base. You got to get that adjustable base in there. Free mattress. I'm kidding. You don't get fucking free mattress. Come on, dude. You think it's a game? You think Ghostbed's playing a fucking game, dude? They can't give you a free mattress, but it's pretty goddamn close with 40% off. So what you do is you put the adjustable base with the mattress. You bundle that together. You can put pillows in it, sheets, the topper, whatever you want. 40% off. Or you can get 30% off anything in the entire store if you just want sheets or pillows or whatever else. With the promo code Drinkin Bros. And then, as always, kids, they got that 36-month pay-as-you-go program. No interest there if you have decent credit. So you can bundle all those deals together with that and walk out of there with a new mattress set between $35 and $38 for the month, which is a very, very lovely thing. Huge fans of those guys, and it's keeping my mattress cool. It's hot out here, D'Anthony.
Yeah, it is.
It's hot. Interesting to hear Bill Cartwright say that about Scottie Pippen and that whole situation. I don't know that I've heard anybody else kind of back him up on that.
Well, somebody else. Who did we have on recently that was talking about that as well? That Krause gets. It was that the writer?
Peter Vesey?
Vesey.
Yeah.
He was saying that Krause never really got enough credit for putting that team together because of how it ended.
Right.
But I mean, look. Krause's what he said was there's no Steve Kerr is going to be a free agent after the next year, so he's going to leave probably, right? So they traded him.
Yep.
They didn't want to pay Scottie again because they didn't want to keep Scottie and not have Michael, I guess.
Right.
So they traded him. But the other pieces that were actually free agents in that next year, no. You know what I mean? Like what Bill just was saying was, I mean, what's to say those guys are going to come back? Well, they were all under contract except for 2 dudes, I think, right? So everybody but 2 dudes.
Right.
If you just don't release them, right? So
right.
I never bought that from Krause. And look, Scottie's situation was kind of fucked up. The players, honestly, and I would love to hear what Scottie probably would never say this, but I think Jordan failed him. Jordan had immense power on that team, right? He came back and signed 1-year deal after 1-year deal worth $33 million a year at a time when the best players in the NBA before him were making like fucking $10 million a year.
He ate up a lot of salary, and it's funny, man.
And I'm not saying that he should have shared his. There's the salary cap thing wouldn't have been an issue here. I'm not saying he should have shared it. I'm saying Jordan should have walked to that office and be like, look, I know Scottie signed this long-term deal for 7 years because he wanted to take care of his family, but he has demonstrated his value here, and we need him not only to be here, but to be motivated to win. So redo his contract right now.
Right.
Jordan could have walked into that front office and said that, and that would have fucking happened.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
Okay, he could have made it a condition of his return to the Bulls in the first place.
Yeah.
And that would have happened, and that would have changed everything for Scottie Pippen. Like, not only during his career, but probably a lot of the animosity that built up until that point wouldn't have existed in the first place, right? So, and then who knows what would have happened after that if they would have kept that team together. But you know, it worked out the way it worked out. They went 6 and 10 years. I mean, they won 6 and 8 years, I guess, but they won 6 and 10 years while they were together. It's unfortunate that it ended the way it did, I guess, but I mean, what are you gonna do? And I also liked very few people, despite the fact that he's the all-time scoring leader, bring up Kareem and who the best basketball player of all time was.
I loved Kareem.
His first 7 seasons in the league, he averaged 30 points a game. Like, not his average was 30 points a game.
Yeah.
For 7 straight years, which I don't know if anybody's done that other than him, but certainly not your first 7.
Right.
And, you know, some of those are before the merger in Milwaukee and shit, but he's the difference between he and Jordan is that he played fucking 19 seasons.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he still won 6 titles. I mean, I could see that argument.
I can too. And look, he's the all-time scoring leader. It looks like LeBron will probably pass him.
Maybe. If he doesn't, I don't know if LeBron is going to play another year after this one.
Really?
Like, why would he? If he wins another chip after this year, I think he quits.
I think his goal, he said, was to play with his son. Now, I don't think his son is going to be good enough for the NBA, but that's me.
Not to go one and done. Right?
I don't think so.
He's only a sophomore right now.
Correct. So he'd have to play 3 more years.
He'd have to play until he's 40 because he'd have to play a year in high school, too.
Right.
Yeah, there's no way.
I think he wants to, man. I do. The way that they're loading up these teams around him, I just can't believe that players want to keep playing with him at this age. because he's fucking old. And this team that they're assembling right now, and we had this discussion off air, that they won't win. Delco, you don't think they'll win, right?
No. Nobody
Right.
thinks they're going to win. I mean, they're with the kind of team they put together. The only shot they really have at beating Denver or Phoenix, in my opinion, is to bang them around down low, right?
Right.
But that's not what that team's even set up for.
Yeah.
They're slashers, and why would you put together in 2021? Why would you put together a team of slashers like LeBron and fucking Westbrook as your two primary ball handlers and have nobody to shoot it?
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck kind of what
You
kind
gotta
of
zig
strategy
while
is
other
that?
people zag, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like Austin Powers. I too like to live dangerously when he hits on 21. Like that's fucking stupid, man. God damn it.
Yeah, I look at that team because Carmelo Anthony was. I saw him on an interview last night.
He's still, by the way, he is the same shooter that Karl Malone is. Their sweet spot is 18 to 20 feet.
Yeah.
But he's never been a great three-point shooter. He does not. If you put a slow Carmelo Anthony in that team on the floor with AD and Westbrook and LeBron at the same time, for example, those four guys and somebody else, whoever it is, none of those guys, other than Westbrook, are particularly fast anymore. None of them play defense, except for LeBron every now and again will play situational defense, which I think is smart by him, by the way, to not foul out his too valuable offensively. But AD's defense, I think, is just okay, to be honest. Westbrook doesn't play any defense.
No.
And Carmelo's never played defense at any point in his career. So you have that team, even just in the half court. What are they doing exactly? Can LeBron take people off the dribble now? Right?
Yeah, I mean, he's so fucking big. So yes and no. And it's like, are they going to put him in the post? Is that what
I don't know.
they're doing because he's older?
I know, like, Carmelo cannot take people off the dribble, but his jab step and fade jumper is still good.
Right.
Westbrook can take pretty much anybody off the dribble, but
He's fast.
Finishing,
He's still fast,
finishing is the issue, right?
Yeah,
With him, or just throwing the ball into the stands or whatever. But
Well, now he'll have AD to throw to. So
yeah, at least he's tall. I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah,
I watched that podcast I was telling you about was actually LeBron's, The Shop on HBO. And he isn't on the show. It's the weirdest fucking show I've ever seen. I like it. It's shot beautifully and everything else, and they have a bunch of eclectic guests, but there's like 8 people on each show. LeBron doesn't really show up. He'll do like one show a season. Like literally, like season 3 was just one show. And I was like, what the fuck is this? But the guests are, again, eclectic, so I watched it. It was Carmelo Anthony on there, and he was talking about the year that he sat out. Not by his own volition. It was just by, nobody decided to pick him up.
Yeah.
I still don't understand that, man, for the life of me.
no, he's still a quality player. I mean,
What did he average last year? I mean, he was fucking great.
well, he played limited minutes off the bench. So I don't know. I don't know how much he actually averaged last year.
Sort of. Towards the end, he was playing a lot.
Yeah.
What were his
see.
stats last year? I'll be curious to see.
He's
37. Shit.
Yeah, he scored 13.4 points per game.
In 69 games.
Yeah.
It's pretty goddamn good, man.
Which season was it that he didn't play?
For a 37-year-old. I believe, what was he, 33? Somewhere in there? I like here, whatever this basketball reference is, .com.
Yeah, it was most of 2018, 2019 was 34.
Okay.
But he had scored 16 points per game the year before that, but the year before that he scored 22. I mean, I think he was having some injury problems, but still, if you can bring a guy on that's going to score 20 points a game, like there's enough room in the NBA, at least on a shitty team, for that.
Oh, yeah. This basketballreference.com is pretty funny because they've got his nicknames down here. Mellow, Hoodie Mellow, Sweet Melon. I've never heard Sweet Melon before for...
Hoodie Mellow is when he would go to Lifetime Fitness and play in a hoodie.
Really?
They would show videos of him just dominating guys at Lifetime Fitness in a hoodie.
During that year off?
Yeah.
That's pretty
great.
funny.
Sweet Melon, though, I've never heard, and I love it. I love Sweet Melon.
He was almost 40-50, or I'm sorry, not 40. Hold on, let me see the fucking stats here. God damn it. I just lost
I think the divorce fucked him
He
up.
was almost 40-40-90. But which for a forward is pretty good, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, or for a guy that's a jump shooter. So he's 42% from the field, 41% from 3, and 89% from the line. I mean, he's still got a touch. you could definitely use a guy like that in the NBA. I just don't know that you use him on a team that has other older players or big players, right? You want that guy like on you want him on Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Just open to shoot a three or whatever the fuck he's going to do.
Yeah.
He's shooting he's actually gotten way better at shooting threes over the latter part of his career. But a lot of guys seem to do that. Do you think Rondo's going to do that this year?
No.
Like, are they banking on playoff Rondo?
I guess. I can't figure it out. And I can't figure out why you want to play with him. I mean, for Melo, look.
Rondo's a good defender.
He is, but he doesn't shoot threes all that great, except for the playoffs. It's kind of, and he's very streaky. But just look at this team here. So Carmelo Anthony never won a championship. Westbrook never won a championship. LeBron's going for what, 6? Has he won 4 or 5? I think he's won 4.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's going for 5. I guess this would tie him with Kobe, but what are you saying, that everybody and their mother is just fucking coming to this team, and his best friend is the biggest agent in the NBA and is able to do that?
Yeah, this shit never works, by the way. Karl Malone and fucking Gary Payton came.
Remember that? The
LA.
Lakers, yeah. It was a fucking disaster.
No bueno.
That blew up the team.
Yeah.
That was it. That's when Shaq and they were like, let's get Shaq out of here. And Kobe was like, fuck all these people.
Yep.
Malone was trying to get a ring. Peyton was trying to get a ring. Yeah. It feels very, very similar to that year. And look, with a healthy Brooklyn Nets team this year, I mean, they were fucking dominating people when they had all 3 of those guys on the court last year. They're still the favorites, by the way. I looked at the odds today. The Nets are favorite. The Lakers are actually second behind them. I was surprised to see they were second.
Yeah.
And because they're going to start the NBA season on time this year and go back to it, I believe, right? Delco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's back to
normal?
Back to like late October, early November.
Yeah. So, look, if you're a gambling man right now, Nets are favored 1 and then Lakers 2.
It looks like the best three-point shooters on the Lakers last season. Trevor Ariza, who's been a 3-and-D guy before. I don't know if you're going to get the defense out of him anymore, but he can still shoot. And I think Marc Gasol, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
So how do you – I mean, I guess it's just a question of being able to use the pieces that you have. How do you win ball games when your best shooters are big guys? I mean, Denver's doing it.
Yep.
Jokic is their best shooter.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray's great,
Yeah.
but he's their best shooter, right?
Yeah.
And their best volume shooter, and he's a big dude. Not that he can't get his way to the basket, but it's not like he's taking dudes off the dribble.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's using high post moves to back his way down or whatever, and then Hakeem Olajuwon style, right?
Sure.
But he can shoot. So they've been able to do it. Maybe that's the Lakers are like, well, we've got AD, who he's not a great shooter, but we've got LeBron, and so that's a better version. Okay, if you combine those two, that's better than just a Jokic. And then you have a guy like Rondo that can move the ball around, and a guy like Westbrook, who can move the ball around. He can't shoot though.
Right.
Like Murray can shoot.
Right.
I think he shot. What did he shoot? Like 41% or something from 3 last season or the season before, maybe. I don't remember. Maybe they're seeing that and like, well, we've got kind of better versions of that. Maybe we can do it here.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's. I can't wait for this season.
Me neither.
To be honest, because all this weird shit is going on, and I just want to see how it turns out.
I just want to see Klay Thompson come back. He was one of my favorite players, dude.
He is my favorite player.
I love watching him play basketball.
I've seen him play live so much. When to be honest, it's like nothing I've ever experienced other than maybe in Vegas for Golden Knights playoff games and shit. But people can feel when Klay's getting hot somehow.
Yeah.
And it's just like the building starts rumbling. Anytime the ball even goes near the guy.
Yeah.
Remember, he scored 37 points in a quarter.
And was it 1 dribble or 2 dribbles or something?
No,
like
that was a separate game. He scored 70 points in a game with 11 dribbles.
Guy's an animal.
Yeah.
And I just want to see him and Steph Curry again together, man. I love that combo.
And I wonder what it's going to look like. I mean, that is really interesting. What's it going to look like with those two, Draymond and Wiggin, on the court at the same time?
Yeah.
Because that's a small 1 through 4.
Oh, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
a really small. I mean, Klay's 6'7" and shit, and Wiggins at 6'7" as well, but Wiggin doesn't play like a 6'7" player on defense.
No,
You
not
know what
at
I
all.
mean? But Draymond's 6'7" too, but he plays like a fucking 7-footer on defense. It's different, but And is that Wiseman kid going to be 5? How does that work?
I know.
I mean, there's a lot of. You have slashers. I mean, that's a pretty decent looking team. I just don't know what to expect out of Wiggins or Wiseman.
I don't like Wiggins on that team. I think Wiseman's fine.
Wiggins best when he's a volume shooter, right?
I think he's best just being, a guy who scores 20 and nobody cares about him in like Minnesota or something like that. When he was in Minnesota, it was fine. You were like, oh yeah, that guy in Minnesota, who gives a shit? I don't want to see him on a Golden State team.
Yeah.
I like to see him get out of there. I don't know what's going to happen with Ben Simmons. Have you heard the latest on Ben Simmons yet?
Still not talking to the team.
No one on the team. Coaches,
No
GMs, players, anyone,
Won't answer
right?
phones, won't answer anything.
Yeah.
What do you think Cam Newton's going to be this time next week?
Boy.
Is he going to wait for somebody to get hurt, like a starter to get hurt and then go there, or is he going to try to sign with the team? What do you think he'll do?
I think he'll probably get vaxxed this afternoon.
Probably.
I mean, he should.
No shit.
It's hurting his career not to.
If it's your livelihood, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing, dude?
It's not like his fucking antler is going to grow out of your head or anything. I just think it's unnecessary.
Same, man. But we'll chat about that in a little bit here. Coming up in about 20 minutes, we're doing the college football odds for the weekend. So stay tuned for that. Dan and I are going to make a drink and take a quick piss, and then we'll be back. It was awesome having Bill Cartwright on the show today. A legend.
Yep.
An all-timer, and it's always cool when those guys reach out and want to be on the show because it's crazy. We grew up watching them as kids, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're on the show, and you get to chat with them about what went on during our favorite moments in sports. Unbelievably lucky to have this job. Again, stay with us in about 20 minutes on this channel. We'll be running down all the college picks for this weekend. This is where we thrive, dude. We're bringing in the big guns here in about 20 minutes. For D'Anthony Holloway, I'm Ross Patterson. This is Drinkin' Bros Sports bonus show today. Good afternoon. We'll see you in 20, everybody.